This is Kerrigan & Company. Are you looking for the perfect holiday gift for the Boston lover on your list? My friends at College Hype can help. My City Gear, powered by College Hype, has a wide array of custom apparel for your favorite townie. Shop for short and long sleeve t-shirts, hoodies, and much more, all in a wide variety of designs. Plus, they have apparel that's specific to Boston, Charlestown, Dorchester, and Southie. Enter code KIM20 at mycitygear.com to get 20% off your entire order. That's promo code KIM20 for 20% off at mycitygear.com. Hi, everybody. It's Kim, and today's show is all about the power couples. This is Kerrigan & Company.
Kerrigan & Company is here for you. Yes, Kerrigan & Company is here for you.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Kim, and welcome to Kerrigan & Company. It's so good to have you with us today. I'm very excited about our show today because we have two power couples on, and they are incredible, both for different reasons, but you can see certainly the similarities between them. But keeping me company first is one half of one of those power couples. And if you love football, and specifically Patriots football, then you certainly know who's keeping me company today. I am joined by three-time Super Bowl champ. This is Joe Andruzzi, and it's great to see you.
Great to see you, too. Thank you very much for having me on.
I am so glad that you're here.
I'm excited.
How you doing?
I'm
How
good.
Have you been?
I'm good. Much better these days. I just got a good report from my yearly checkup at my oncologist.
Which is fantastic.
And knock on wood, everything's looking good. So up and living life to the fullest still.
So great.
Yes.
A little later, your wife Jen is here, and we're going to talk about the Joe Andruzzi Foundation and talk about what you're just mentioning, your cancer diagnosis at one point, cancer survivor, thank goodness, and all the good that you are doing as a result of the experience that you had. But we got to talk about, first off, it's Thanksgiving week. What do you guys do for Thanksgiving?
Well, this year we moved into our new house a little about a year ago, and it's our first Thanksgiving here.
Oh, good.
So we have all five of our kids and significant others joining us, and we're gonna have a grand old time at the home, and
that's great.
We'll throw some turkey at each other and some stuffing, but try and catch it with the mouth, like that.
I'm picturing this, and I don't know now. I'm gonna have to talk to Jen about that.
Oh,
That's really on
I
the
do
docket.
that, and I got to clean it up. So that's all. That's
now, does Jen cook? Is she your cook?
We'll do joint force. I mean,
Yeah.
but she loves to cook. I love to cook. I mean, take turns.
Do you? I guess where I was going with this whole thing is, do you clean up? I mean, that's the most important question, really. I have to ask.
My problem is when I'm cooking, I need to start cleaning up. It's the aftermath when you eat and you just want to lay down, especially on Turkey Day. Forget about it. You got a lot to be thankful for, and then you eat some of that turkey or that tryptophan kicks in. Go put that football game on and close your eyes and catch the end when see who won.
I know. I love doing the cooking on Thanksgiving. I'm going to host this year. I have no problem with that whatsoever. It's the cleanup. If I could just, twinkle my nose and it would be gone, that would be great.
Yes, that would be awesome just to do that. Just a little bewitched and.
I know, exactly. That's that moment that I need that so desperately. You said football. So is football part of the Thanksgiving at the Andruzzi's house?
All my kids love football. Maybe one daughter, not so much, but
yeah.
But
she'll be home. There's always one in the group.
There's always one, yeah. But we'll watch the parade, we'll watch the games, and my youngest guy, I'm still helping him out coaching football, and
Great.
Being able to go out there and enjoy that seventh grade football can sometimes be so exciting, and sometimes be so frustrating.
Been there, I know. I've been there, absolutely.
But overall, he loves it. He loves watching it, along with my other two boys and my younger daughter. She actually played football down at LaSalle Academy. She was the kicker, and she won a championship down there. So she's got a nice ring. But she likes it. She was always once in watching the games and going to the games with me. And now I got my 13-year-old.
That's great.
Because she's busy doing hair and makeup now and stuff. So
she's not quite as interested.
Not quite as interested anymore.
Did the other two boys play football during?
They all played about a year or so, maybe a couple more, maybe a year or two. But they didn't start, and they played flag. I wish I had flag growing up. My mom didn't let me play till high school.
Yeah.
And it's like forming a callus on your hand. So for me, we let them start in middle school. So my oldest started in 7th grade, and then my other guy, my middle guy, started 8th grade. Then my youngest, we gave him the go-ahead at 6th grade, and he is gung-ho. He loves it, loves
When the
flag.
younger ones come along, you always kind of give a little more, don't you?
You want ice cream for breakfast? Go ahead, you can have ice cream for breakfast.
I know.
I'll never forget the great story I told last night is that he had a basketball hoop put up on the front, in the house, on the front door, and he's playing basketball, and then the 26-year-old comes over, and he's like, Mom, are you kidding me? You're letting him do this right here? You would never let me do this, Mom. She's like, he's the youngest. I have no patience anymore. Whatever. You deal with him.
No, listen, I know that exact feeling, exactly. I really do think it's interesting, though, that you say that you sort of held the kids off. You were held off playing football. I was reading, Joe, that I think you're an advisor over at Harvard, are you not, for some of the athletic studies? You were.
I was, yes.
So that's something you follow pretty closely. Tell me a little, obviously, we all know that the head injuries happen in football, and have been some.
It's a scapegoat. I mean, I don't disagree, but you can get head injuries anywhere.
Yeah.
My oldest.
Listen, soccer players.
Soccer's that's the number 1 sport actually, and nobody really talks about that. Yeah. Or cheerleading. I think that's number 2, and football is just because it's the roughest sport.
Yeah.
And it just. It's there. I mean, even with hockey too. I mean, they turn around and they're trying to change things. They're trying to change the helmets and do that, do this and do that. And, I think overall it's a lot to do with your whole upper body strength, your neck, your muscles, your shoulders, and, trying to keep everything in nice and strong and tight. But nothing's going to save a concussion. If you get hit most of the times from the side, that's when your brain jiggles in your head a little bit. So, I mean, overall, they're trying. I mean, these new helmets and new companies.
I mean, do you like what they're doing? Is it?
I like what they're doing.
What the NFL is doing?
Yeah, with the young kids, we put what's that? I can't even think of the skull caps with the pads on it. And we had those for the kids this year. So it absorbs the hit a little bit. Where but you're still going to get a concussion if you get hit from the side. And so that's where most of them comes from. But you may get one hitting straight on, but hopefully that the helmets are absorbing it more than it did back in the day. But overall, we should go back to the leather helmets because there was less concussions back then. Believe it or not, I'm serious. I've talked to a lot of people about it.
Do you think? And I know that you mentioned, because we've been just chatting a little bit here. You feel like even from the time that you played, when you watch football on TV now, or obviously probably attend games, that they hit even harder. Do you really mean that?
It seems like that.
Or is that just because
it's just I'm watching. I'm standing on the sidelines.
It didn't feel softer when you were standing.
No, it definitely didn't feel softer, especially when big guy Ted Johnson comes blitzing up the middle at you in practice, and he hits you right down the middle. But overall, I mean, I look at not so much my NFL helmet, so figure close to 20 years of playing football with high school, college, and stuff like that. I look at my old helmets. Yeah. And the paints are chipped off, and we used to love that back in high school. Oh, who's got a good gash? Who's got other paint? You're looking for the other team's paint on your helmet. And it was exciting. Yeah. And nowadays, and you
now
look
you don't
at that,
touch helmets.
Yeah. Some days I'm like, oh, that's why I forget a lot of things. But I had almost 20 years of football plus chemo on top of that. That was the icing on the cake for me. So try and do a lot of things to keep me on schedule. Yeah. Or else my boss would yell at me.
We're going to meet the boss here in just a few minutes. Absolutely. Talk to me about football. What do you think about the Patriots?
I think it's a year in turmoil or a year in change, and love this kid Drake May, and he's doing a lot of good things out there. Yeah. So along with his teammates, and unfortunately, it's the NFL. It's not for long, and you turn around, injuries happen, and unfortunately, you lose a great veteran in David Andrews, and next guy up. And we've had that problem when I played back in the day, and it's always the next man up. And you look at, I think it was 2004, a guy named Troy Brown, who was a great wide receiver for us. All of a sudden, you see him on defense. I mean, he had to go in there a couple of games because we didn't have anybody else to put in there, and they didn't want to sign anybody. So, we needed a couple of games, a little help, and he went in there on certain defenses, and I think he came out with 1 or 2 interceptions, and, he broke a couple passes up and things like that. And he got one from his old quarterback, Drew Bledsoe, at the Buffalo Bills game, and Drew probably thought he was throwing to Troy when he was back in the day. But overall, I think, things like that. It's what we were taught at that age and, all that era, and I'm sure they're trying to reiterate that now as the next guy. You're not just on this team to collect a paycheck or just to enjoy the atmosphere. You're on this team to help and to help them win, and you want to do everything you can, especially play. I mean, when you get a chance to be called upon, you don't get many opportunities in this league, so you gotta take them and run with them.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I know that you said you like Drake May, and you know that he's had kind of a tough go because of, let's just say it, that line in front of him, and you're a guy who certainly appreciates an offensive line, and I think that this has been a season that has given people that chance to have a better appreciation for the offensive line and what they do.
I think so, but it's also, like I said, the injuries where he hasn't had the same 5 guys in front of him for 2 games straight, and it's like it's hard to do that. I've been there, and it's not easy. You want to be able to have that same guy next to you. Like for me, I was most of my career I was between Matt Light and Dan Copen, and we came to a point where we didn't have to say any calls because we knew what we had to do.
Sure. And
we knew who we were going towards, and unless it was a new play, a new call, or something like that, or we couldn't really use dummy calls because Matt would always get messed up. I'm just kidding. But we used to, joke around.
I'll make sure Matt hears this.
Yeah, of course. Why not? And he'll probably agree with me at times. But, he was so zoned in at times, and as we all are, and so was Dan. And being able to go out there, get to that line of scrimmage because you got a split second to make a decision. And you got to be able to play on the run.
Sure.
And, whether your guy slants, stunts, whatever, blitzes, you got to be able to pick it up and in order to keep your quarterback clean. And, he doesn't want to get dirty or else you're going to get dirty on the streets.
That's exactly right. Yeah, absolutely. I know that you would say Patriots, so we'll take that out of the equation.
What's that?
Favorite team? Is there a team you follow pretty regularly now?
I follow all of them, really. I was always a football fan, but as a football program, I have to say, being, out there for 3 years in Green Bay, it's a team owned by the fans.
Yeah.
And so I tell everybody, if you're a football fan, whether you're a Green Bay fan or not, you just got to go out there and go check out the atmosphere, and it's amazing.
Yeah, they say I've never been in Lambeau, but they say it's magical.
Yeah, see, now you've never been there. You got to go there now. It's you drive down the street, and it's a normal neighborhood, and all of a sudden, bam, Lambeau Field. We got people. There's not enough parking there either for all the fans. So people sell spots on their front lawn. I know people who went out there. Oh yeah, I parked at somebody's house. They fed me. They gave me drinks, all for $50 or whatever it was. I was like, that's the kind of people they are.
Yeah, it's a community kind of
is.
thing. Absolutely. Yeah, it's just a little chilly.
Yeah, well, you can't go in November and December. I mean, come on.
Catch one of those September
Catch
games.
the early games of the year. That's when you want to go out there because it's nicer.
Joe, we do this thing here. It's called our Fast Five. Mm-hmm. So it's just answering they're rapid fire questions. And I'm going to throw a few at you and see how you do here.
Is this PG show or rated R?
No, this is PG, I promise.
PG, okay. No, I'm saying I don't want to say anything fast out of my mouth. I've been known to put my foot in my mouth many times, Kim. Come on.
I mean, listen, you can say whatever you want. Yeah. It's all good. It's the College Hype Fast Five. College Hype, making a difference, one T-shirt at a time. Visit collegehype.com today. They're kind enough to support us here at Kerrigan and Company. Are you ready, sir? You got 30 seconds to answer these 5 questions.
All right, let's rock.
Here we go. First one. What do you miss the most about playing football?
Camaraderie.
Very good. Which football player did you idolize as you were growing up?
Lawrence Taylor.
Favorite TV show of all time?
Of all time, TV show, that would have to be probably Friends or Seinfeld, one of those. Yep.
Must-see TV. That was a Thursday night.
Yeah.
Do you have an elf on the shelf at your house?
We did. We did have one. Yes, we did.
Did you regret it?
Oh, yeah. Of course. Especially when you
'Cause I
forgot to
know.
move him.
Oh, hey, thank
Especially if
you.
you forgot to move him. He was too tired last night. He didn't want to go away.
It's exactly. I had that experience over and over again. And what is one thing you hope Santa's going to bring at your house this Christmas?
Oh, happy family, a healthy family. That's all I hope for. We, don't need anything personal, and just want to have a family around you and enjoy that special time, because we all have a lot to be thankful for.
Let me tell you, you do have a lot to be thankful for. We all do. I feel the exact same way. I'm thrilled. My kids are coming home. My family's going to be there, and we're all looking forward to it. You have an unbelievable story, and it goes well beyond football. But football certainly has helped you to be able to help others.
Yes.
And I know for that you are very grateful. Not necessarily grateful for what happened to you, but what you've been able to do with it. And we're going to share that story when the second half of this power couple comes to join us right here on the set. This is Kerrigan and Company. Are you looking for the perfect holiday gift for the Boston lover on your list? My friends at College Hype can help. My City Gear, powered by College Hype, has a wide array of custom apparel for your favorite townie. Shop for short and long sleeve t-shirts, hoodies, and much more, all in a wide variety of designs. Plus, they have apparel that's specific to Boston, Charlestown, Dorchester, and Southie. Enter code KIM20 at mycitygear.com to get 20% off your entire order. That's promo code KIM20 for 20% off at mycitygear.com. On Sunday, December the 15th, join Boston design, fashion, and creative arts community at Boston Park Plaza for the second annual Runway Ball to benefit St. Jude, New England. A winter's dream promises to be a carefully curated runway show featuring 6 designers and their collections, giving artists a creative platform in which to showcase their talent. Tickets may be purchased at therunwayball.com. As a special offer, my friends at Boston Man Magazine are offering $50 off per ticket. Just enter the code KIM50 at the checkout for that incredible deal. The code again is KIM50. This is one event you won't want to miss. This segment of Kerrigan and Company is brought to you by Lucia Lighting and Design, where people in the know go for the best possible lighting and design experience. Welcome back, everybody, to Kerrigan and Company. So good to have you with us on this episode, and it's really great to have Joe Andruzzi keeping me company today. If you love football, of course, you love Joe.
I'm like your bodyguard here, right?
I do feel much safer. People don't know that there's glass in front of us, but now I'm not concerned about what's happening out there, Joe. I'm so glad you're here.
I try.
Talking football is so fun, but there's a side of you that I think a lot of people know now, Joe, but maybe didn't know for a long time. And that's the fact that you are a cancer survivor.
Yes.
Really dramatic cancer survivor. And I want to talk more about that. But you've taken that experience and you've turned that into something good. And you've done so with your fantastic wife. And joining us is Jen Andruzzi, and she is the president and CEO of the Andruzzi Foundation. This is a power couple, my friends. Let me assure you of that. Yeah, exactly. Power in different ways. You're the one running the show, and he just has the muscle, right?
That's
Jen?
it,
That's how it works.
He's the
I got the
mascot.
pretty face. That's all, right? Yeah, I'm the mascot. Yeah.
Jen, it was how many years ago that Joe was diagnosed?
So diagnosed 17 and a half.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So in
With a
May, it'll be 18.
really aggressive Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Yes.
Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Yeah.
It's called
Yeah.
Burkitt's lymphoma.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So he
It's May 07.
yeah. You can. Your story.
May 07. And, we sat down and I was just telling my nurse over at Dana-Farber, where I just came from a checkup, but telling her how, we sat down and we literally, on a napkin, we're writing pros and cons on whether Boston, New York, Minnesota, where all these great hospitals are that can help me live. And by the time we decided, it was on a napkin at the lunch table, because we were living in Cleveland at the time, and we got uprooted and moved back here to Boston for some of the best care in the country, and knowing that my doctor had a clinical trial going on. So that was the added bonus, and come here and start that up, and looked at me and said, "You're already stage 4. we're not taking another test. We're starting chemo tomorrow, 7 a.m. And that was May 31st, 2007. Started chemo June 1st, and about 50 plus days in and out of the hospital, and mostly staying there because I was inpatient for all my treatment.
Right. And Jen, as his spouse, this is a horrible thing for what he went through. But I think people forget that there are families who are going through, absolutely walking through every step of it. I mean, you're going through it as well. Tell me what was going through, your mind and what your experience was like.
So I always say it's very robotic as the caregiver for most. Like if you're the adult in the picture. So Joe came home.
Wait, time out. She's the only adult because I'm still a child. She's healthy.
Yes. Well,
People have already put that together.
Yeah,
Don't
I
worry
think so.
about that.
I figured it out.
But just getting the diagnosis, the doctors were calling me. They weren't calling Joe. And so I was the relayer for most of the tests as well. Like I'll never forget walking in after his PET scan, and so that's a scan where basically they put nuclear, right, like, and everything will glow, like wherever you have cancer. And I walked in. I said, I need to talk to you in the garage, and he's like, no, just tell me now, because his family was right there. And I was like, well, this is going to not go well. Like, and I could get why he wanted that, right? Like, he's like, just get it over, rip the Band-Aid. But that's like, that part is hard, right? Like, because they're calling me, giving me the information that I'm relaying it. And then, like, leaving Cleveland, Joe will say, like, he was like, can we just stay 24 more hours to say goodbye to another handful of friends? I was like, absolutely not. Like, I don't, and his treatment, his type of cancer, so aggressive that you can't give it 24 hours. Like, you just can't give it 24 hours. So, so we did. We got on the plane and we landed, and he was inpatient literally the next day. And he was in for, I think, 3 nights. Then he got released. Then he went back in, and that was just it, right? But at the same time, we had 4 kids, 9 to 2. They were, a local camp I had reached out to say, like, hey, could you take the kids? And we actually just saw him not that long ago, and I was like, oh my God. But
because you were going into the summer, there was no school, there was no
school, but that was like a little bit of a blessing, right? Like, even though the school would have kept them busy, they would have had to answer a lot of questions from a lot of people, right? And so I think the summer camp kept them safe because there were kids and it's play, and it was more protected, But it was robotic. It was like, go to the hospital or drop the kids off at camp, go to the hospital. Some days I'd go home for dinner. Some days I wouldn't, and I would just stay until like the next day at 5 a.m.
Right.
And then I would drive home so the kids didn't know I slept at the hospital. So I was there when they woke up, and that was literally the routine.
So this experience turned out in the end to certainly be positive, and here you sit today, 17 years later, thank goodness, and just had a checkup today, and we're all hoping that it went very, very well. But you learned some things during the course of this beyond his health issues. You learned the sacrifices and the experience that families have, and that drove the two of you to do something really spectacular out of this, and that was to start the Andruzzi Foundation. So talk about what that foundation does and why that's so important to you, what you learned, and why it just means so much.
So just like before we experienced it as a family, you don't know what you don't know. And I think so when we stepped into the life of a cancer patient and family, your eyes just like open up. And we were very fortunate. We had means. Joe played in the NFL for 10 years. We could uproot our family from Cleveland, Ohio, and come back to Massachusetts, right? Like, we didn't have to think about it, which the privilege, right? We'd have to think about paying for more than one mortgage. We could do it, right? And that's like this, less than 5% of people can probably do that, right?
Sure.
And so I think that was really like, well, this is not really fair. Like, how do people do this? Like, how are they paying their mortgage? How are they paying, especially like for us, because he
Kids
at the
are
time was the breadwinner, right? I was the stay-at-home mom at the time. And if we had, if Joe was a banker and I was a stay-at-home mom and he gets put on disability, there's absolutely no way we could have done that, right? Like,
There's no income. It stops.
there's no income, right? And so I think that's where you just saw the hardship of what the cost of cancer is for families. So like visiting Joe every day at the hospital, like leaving sometimes, and going back, that's 2 parking vouchers that I'm paying, right? Paying for lunch in the cafeteria or, any just random things, right? And gas, like it's
daycare for your children who mom's not home.
Realize,
right?
Sure. Like it's things you don't recognize. For us, he was inpatient, so we didn't necessarily see all the co-pays, but imagine like a radiation patient, right? Like if they have a copay for every radiation treatment and they're in radiation 5 days a week for, 6 weeks straight, that's a lot,
Yes,
right?
it is.
Like, and they still have their their
Mortgage,
fixed
rent,
their fixed
utilities,
costs, right? Like their fixed costs that they probably are living paycheck to paycheck to cover, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's really where I was like, is there an organization that supports these families? Is there, financial assistance? And there were some, like the Ellie Fund was around. It was newer at the time. They were around, and but there are breast cancer patients in the state of Massachusetts, and it's a very niche thing, right? And for us, when we started, people are like, "Oh, just stay with lymphoma. Like, don't, start small." And I was like, "No." I was like, "So I'm like, if I get breast cancer in 10 years, we're gonna add on." I was like, "No, like we have to start." How we want it to, we want the mission and the vision, right? Mm-hmm. And so when Joe got out, the vision was to alleviate barriers to treatment. And us, what we learned is that sometimes the barrier to treatment can be you have to put food on the table. So you can't pay your copay, right? Yeah. That's a barrier to treatment, right? Those are things that patients literally face like every single day, right? Like, and they're going to their social worker to say, I don't know what to do. My wife has to work. I need to go, come to the appointment, but our kids are here, and they're all trying to juggle it, right? And at the same time, you're fighting for your life. You have absolutely no idea what tomorrow is going to bring. Right. And that it's just so much. It's so much weight. And like we just left Dana-Farber. The amount of patients that has the percentage of people with cancer since Joe had it, it's
quadrupled.
It's horrific. Yeah. Like to me, I'm like, it's just sad. It's so sad. Like we were in Chestnut Hill, small space, right, but a big space. But that was we were in the original Dana-Farber building, not the new the newer one.
New, nice
and I
one.
just look and I'm like, oh my God, like. There was one building, and now they have so many satellite sites, right? Like they have so many things, and it just shows you, like, yes, we're getting smarter, and people are going to the doctor, and they're listening to their body, and there's screenings, but at the same time, we're catching things and putting people into situations that cost, right?
Absolutely.
And we want to put them in those situations, right? And people are living longer.
Because we're saving lives, right?
We're
Absolutely.
And they are living longer, right? Like patients are living longer. But I think the advocacy of what the cost is and what it does to a family, it's we need more voices talking about it.
I think the bottom line is cancer, no matter what type, no matter what you're dealing with. It doesn't matter if you're 0 to 100 years old, and that's when we sat down and realized
sacrifices have to be made by families, and struggle
they do.
exists.
You got to put food on your table or buy your medicine, stuff like that. Where with 3-4 years ago now, almost, we started a food security program, and we've escalated over $1 million in, giving gift cards to patients and, many things like that just accumulate while you're battling and, some of the little hidden costs of cancer.
Right.
And that's where the Joe Andruzzi Foundation steps in.
Well, and Jen, you said it. You don't know until you've experienced this. You really don't. So
Right.
it's, out of your lived experience, you're able to help other people. And I'm so sorry that you've had to live that experience, but wow, what you have done with it is so incredible. So give us an idea. I mean, I don't know if you talk about this. How much money have you guys been able to raise, and what have been some of the goals, and what are future goals for the
Well, I
foundation?
told you that one was the food security.
Right,
so in
which
3
is
years,
phenomenal.
we've donated over $1 million.
Which is
Since
incredible.
our incentive, over $11 million have been
Over
donated.
11 million. Yeah.
And we have,
It's like over
through our whole programs, we have like,
45,000 cancer patients and families.
oh yeah, over the patients and families.
Say that again. 45,000
45,000
patients, families.
5 different areas. We said food security, but we, the home end, the rent, and things like that. And then we also help with a lift program.
Yes.
So,
Getting people just
getting people to treatment,
Just
to
to
treatment, to a
treatment.
doctor's appointment.
Right.
We have extraordinary needs. If somebody's in a wheelchair all of a sudden and they need a wheelchair ramp,
Absolutely.
that's a need.
You bet.
So, and things like that. And then we also have our wellness program, which is part of our upbeat, kind of staying upbeat and positive through cancer, where we take families and individuals. We go on the Godzilla ride and, go to different sporting events and, have some fun and spread some
Absolutely.
smiles because, bottom line is laughter is that best medicine. And to be able to smile and laugh every day is hard, especially if you're going through something like that or any illness. But at least it's those endorphins that helps you heal.
You bet it does. Did you ever think, Joe, that you would be able to use, I know you didn't, because this is almost a silly question to ask, but to use your notoriety for such good?
Not really, because at first I didn't want to. At first I wanted nothing to do with cancer when I completed my treatment. And Jen would tell you, she was by my bedside. She's started this from my bedside, and I don't remember a lot because the amount of chemo I was on, and I was inpatient, and didn't know what was going on sometimes. But overall, for me, I was able to look ahead of that and receive a call from my mom who just wanted me to give a call to her son who had the same cancer as me, and hung up that phone and told Jen, I said, we could do a lot of good with this. I could take my 3 Super Bowl rings and my survivorship ring, parlay that into the great foundation we are today, and helping those in need that struggle through a cancer battle. Because to hear that 50% of cancer patients become bankrupt after a battle, that's just not right to me. My doctor was a big believer in you get better at home. So every time my numbers were up and good, he let me go home. But also knowing 24 hours later, we're driving back up the VFW to come back to the hospital because I'm running 104 temperature.
Right.
So, back and forth. And, the gas mileage, the parking fees, the food, that stuff adds up.
You bet it does over a long course of it. And Jen, let me ask you one final question. Has it been cathartic for you? And when you stood by that bedside and watched him so sick for so many weeks,
Yeah.
it had to have been something. It gave you an opportunity to focus on something positive, I would think.
Yeah, and I think so. It probably was me getting that right, because I said it was robotic. That frustration into something different and positive, because you have I'm a very faithful person, thank God, because I don't know I literally have no idea what I would have done without it, because we would go I would be on the cot, we'd go to sleep. I would be on the cot and he would be in bed, and he would not have talked all day. He would have had a fever of 105. He had raw skin because he had reaction. It was bad, right? And I would just go to bed or lay there and be like, oh my God, just wake up tomorrow. Please just wake up tomorrow, wake up tomorrow, wake up tomorrow. And I think I just used that to fuel it, because there was nothing else I could do. Right? I had already done as much. And I think that's the hard thing too for caregivers, no matter if it's like your spouse, your child, your neighbor, your friend, we feel so helpless, right? And so I think for me, it was having my faith, knowing that what was going to be was to be, but then also to say, like, let me pour into something else. Absolutely. Because otherwise I don't know what I would have done.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, you don't think, you just do. As, Jen said
absolutely.
many times, and that's what you do. You just
do.
Take it one day at a time, and 1 minute at a time. Just keep moving forward, and smile every day, because it's going to help you move forward.
Yeah. The Joe Andruzzi Foundation. People can go to the website. You can give, you can learn more. You can, if you're someone who's listening and these are services that maybe you need, you can learn more about how you can get to those services. They're on that website. So be sure you check it out. And the website, the exact website is Jen.
joeandruzzifoundation.org.
So good to see you.
Thank
you very much for being here.
Thank you. My pleasure.
You're staying with me here.
Yes.
He doesn't get to leave quite yet.
Thank you, Jen, for joining us.
All right. When we come back, another power couple that you won't want to miss. This is Kerrigan and Company. The holidays are here, and if you're looking to brighten someone's day, I hope you'll consider some of the incredible lighting options at Lucia Lighting and Design for inside or outside the home. Get that special someone the perfect gift they want, but might not buy for themselves from Lucia Lighting and Design at 311 Western Avenue in Lynn. They have so much more than lighting, with several showrooms full of furniture, accessories, art, rugs, and fans. Gift certificates are a great option if you know your gift recipient will want to pick out their own pieces. Learn more at lucialighting.com.
If you like rum, you're going to love Rumson's Rum, New England's most award-winning rum brand. Rumson creates distinctive and savory flavor profiles by hand-selecting and marrying the finest barrel-aged Caribbean rums. The spirits are then blended and finished in the New England Rum House. Choose from Rumson's Gold, Spiced, Grand Reserve, or Coffee Rum, which is smooth and sweet with a warm roasted coffee flavor, a hint of vanilla, and a decadent buttery finish. Find Rumson's at liquor stores or ask for it at your favorite restaurant. Learn more at rumsons.com. That's rumsons.com. Rumsons. Life lived, life enjoyed.
This segment of Kerrigan and Company is brought to us by Bill Haney's North Shore Music Theater. Go to nsmt.org now to get your tickets to the 35th anniversary production of A Christmas Carol, playing December 5th through the 22nd. Welcome back, everybody, to Kerrigan and Company. Great to have you with us for this episode. Of course, keeping me company today is Joe Andruzzi, NFL
somebody
legend.
had to fill the camera up,
I'm a little bit upset with you because you didn't bring any of the Super Bowl rings.
I wasn't asked to, so I didn't bring any rings with me.
Yeah. I thought for sure you just were that guy who walked around just wearing them.
No. I don't just wear them. If I have a suit on, I'll wear one. That's about it.
I love it. Well, listen, our next guest, they've got a few awards between them themselves. These are 2 Emmy Award winners. Join another power couple, as we mentioned. Joining us today is, we're going to give her just 2 seconds. There we go. Sean and Michele Kanan are with us. Now, let me tell you a little bit about them so that you know. Michele is an award-winning writer and producer. She's also an actress at times. And Sean is a man who has appeared in some of Joe's favorite television show. Cobra Kai. He loves Cobra Kai. He was like, "Are you kidding me?" Also, you started that role, of course, in Karate Kid Part 3, and of course, we're talking about Mike Barnes is that part. Mm-hmm. But now, Sean, I have to go to where I know you, which is I know you as Deacon. And my mother, and I swore I would tell her, I would say this out loud. My mother, Vicky Gilder, she wants you to know that she is so proud that Deacon is making Sheila a better person. So there you go, Mom. I've said it. On Bold and the Beautiful, obviously. It's great to have both of you here today.
She got that out right away. She told me if she missed that, her mom would disown her.
I said, there will be no Christmas if I don't get that out. So I had to make sure that I did so.
We love the soap fans. They're so loyal and they're just
amazing fans.
They're so amazing. They just, really.
I'm very lucky to to be a part of two incredible fandoms between the Miyagi verse and the soap opera fans. So it's been really wonderful.
So listen, you guys are also authors, which is so great. And Sean, I know this is your fourth book that we're going to talk about here, and Michele, and the third in this series, correct?
Third in this series, my fifth book. Yeah.
This is your fifth book. You're writing them faster than I can read about you.
I got to catch up on my reading.
This is Way of the Cobra Couples. And I want to show that for those who are watching, people are watching and listening, but I want to show the cover. But Michele, this is the first time that you've joined him in writing, correct?
Correct. Yes, that's true. Yeah. We always knew this was coming, but when Sean finally pulled the trigger, I was really ready because, we're pretty collaborative. Our offices share a wall. So we just kind of yelled through the wall, and this has been a great experience. And I figured, hey, the last time we collaborated, we won an Emmy. So hey, this one was going to be a slam dunk.
Absolutely.
Nice. Good luck on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about this a little bit because I got to tell you, I read the book and I loved it. And I want to tell you right off the top what I love about this book. I love that we get both of your voices. And it's actually, and people have to buy the book to understand this, but they're in different font in the book. So suddenly it's like you're having a conversation with the two of them.
So when it's the bigger font, is that when Michelle's yelling at Sean? Is that like the text message when I capitalize, they think I'm yelling at them, my kids and stuff? Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's like that.
It is. But I do love it because they do. Michele responds to some of the things that he says, and she responds in a way. Sometimes it's like, now wait a minute, that kind of thing.
In her mind, she's correcting you, Sean. Right? She's correcting you. She's not responding. She's correcting.
It's reality.
Well, familiar with the series of books. Cobra is an acronym. It's formed from the words character, optimization, balance, respect, and abundance. And Way of the Cobra and Welcome to the Kumite, which were the first two books, are the strategies and philosophies I use to completely turn my life around, to overcome some significant challenges, and to achieve, some success in life. And Michele and I were talking and said, listen, so many people come up to us and tell us that they've had profound life changes because of the books. How can we apply this to relationships? There was this study done, and they asked a bunch of super successful people. They said, what do you attribute your success to? And you might think that it's generational wealth. Okay. It's not that. You might think it's going to an Ivy League school. It's not that. It's their choice of partner. And I know for me personally, I always say the right one will make you, the wrong one will break you. And I've had both. And so for me, my relationship with Michele, having that positive, fulfilling, enhancing relationship has helped me become who I am today. And we wanted to pass that on to other people and use the framework for the first two books. But in order to do that, for relationships, you have to have 2 points of view. So we have two senseis this time.
I have to tell you,
100% agree.
Yeah, I was just saying, Joe's wife was just on the show with us just a moment ago. We've had two power couples here today, and Jen you guys have been married how long? We didn't even talk about that.
Going on 25 years.
25 years. Yes. They have been through, a full football career and a whole lot of ups and downs. This is a cancer survivor sitting next to me as well.
Cancer, Boston bombings. My three brothers are New York City firemen. 9/11. There's been a lot that went through our lives, and even our children, and going through certain things with them. Sure. A lot of scares because now you got five. It's never a dull moment. I'm sure. You
guys sound like you're a profile in resilience.
Yeah.
Yes.
We all. When the inmates outnumber the guards, you got to be a super strong unit. Otherwise, they take over the house.
I go sports analogies, Michele. I go sports analogies. So after two, you go from man coverage. The third one was the toughest because you go to zone coverage, and then 4 and 5, you're already screwed. You just keep moving forward. That game's over. Yep, final. You lost.
Well, I got to tell you, I think they are, after having read the book, the two of them are a Cobra couple. There's no two ways about that. I think you would say that a lot of your success has to do with the fact that you chose the right partner.
Yes,
right?
Definitely chose the right partner.
Yeah,
soulmates.
absolutely.
God works in funny ways, and we lean on each
Yeah.
other for a lot, and I believe that without her, I wouldn't be here today, as we just talked about with her. And she kicked me in my ass and got me on a plane to go come to Boston, because if I waited another day, I probably wouldn't be here, because I got here to Boston. I was stage 4, Burkitt's lymphoma, and doctor said I was starting chemo tomorrow. So, besides that, but we've helped each other. Thank you.
It is. It's an
Thank
amazing
God you're with
story.
us, and you look like you're doing really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Joe,
found my appetite.
1 second off topic, Joe, just because you're a Cobra Kai fan, sit back. So this way. Do you recognize this?
I can't see as a glare, but
Oh, that's the
Okay, quit showboating.
that's the gi they gave me that I wore in Cobra Kai.
Oh, Cobra,
They gave it to me.
that's the gi?
That's
Okay.
the gi. Yeah, I think I heard you say, you asked him right at the very end. You said, "Can I just have that?"
That's all you wanted, huh? No paycheck. Just give me the gi, and I'm good to go.
I love it. Hey, you guys, would you say that this is a book though that's for singles as well? Because I think it sort of is. There was a lot in this that I thought I'd pass this on to my oldest. I'd pass this on to my kids, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we really went into this book with is we're not professionals. We're just, 2 crazy kids who happen to make it work with all this adversity. So we wanted to pass on advice on how to turbocharge your relationship. So we're not necessarily looking to find what's wrong with your relationship. We're looking to find what's right and lean into it. So in doing that, you also look for who your potential mate is and what's working about yourself. And we put practical tools in the book. One of the things, and watch, we're going to make your co-host blush again. One of the most heard things in every relationship is, "I'm not a mind reader." And we decided that's true. We're not going to communicate through the Psychic Friends Network. We're going to give you practical tools that enhance communication, like our day meter. The day meter is, I show up in the morning and say, "I've only got 20% today." And Sean knows 100% what he needs to do. And he tells me, "Look, I got 50. We're staying in bed and watching Netflix." Show up and go, "I've got 100%, and I show up and I say, "I got 100%. We're setting the world
Then
on
it's
fire."
Wonder Twin powers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You asked about how this book works for singles. One of the things we talk about is your origin story. So your origin story really is a thumbnail sketch of who you are, what your background is, maybe occupationally, familial, maybe some adversity you've overcome, and where you're headed in life. And it's a way for you to communicate briefly, sort of Cliff Notes version of who you are when you meet somebody, and for them to infer, okay, is this person someone that is right for me to continue forward with? The problem is that everybody likes to be a shiny penny when they meet somebody for the first time. Mm-hmm. So they give a really sanitized version of who they are. And so in the book, we talk about, hypothetically, a girl gets a date with Superman, and she calls her mom up. She's like, "Mom, I got a date with this guy. He's got a rockin' bod. He's got this cape. Truth, justice, the American way."
Michelle, you said all that, Michelle? You said all that to your mom?
So that's how we did. So, but if you know anything about Superman's origin story, Superman also destroyed a school full of children and killed them all. He also did a couple of other really bad things. So depending on what he chooses to share, it could be a very different perception. So we're not saying that you sit down and you talk about where all the bodies are hidden and every, wart and everything like that.
We call that emotionally slutty.
Being emotionally slutty, oversharing stuff on the first date. Yeah. But you want to give somebody an accurate perception. In other words, if you want to have a nice quiet life, white picket fence, 2 kids, that's great. But if you and your buddies are, going to Vegas twice a month and you're not letting the person know that, and then you wonder why 3 weeks later it isn't working out, it's because you're not being honest with your origin story. Mm-hmm. And what I've come to realize, I'm obviously married, but if I was single, I wouldn't date anybody unless I had the intention that they were going to become a partner. And if they weren't, I'd move on. Mm-hmm. Life is too short. Look, when you're in your 20s, you're supposed to meet a lot of people, try a lot of things, decide what you like, what you don't like. But if you know that you want to have a partner, don't waste your time. We talk about that, but one of the biggest things is that both people have to be ready to have a relationship. Yeah.
We got to be on the same page. And I'm a big believer in what you're saying. I'm a public speaker. My quote is, life's like a roller coaster. And I kind of reiterate a little bit of my story into other people's lives on the fact of you're going to have ups and downs, whether you like a roller coaster ride or but life is having ups and downs. It's how you battle back from being down. Everybody has a bad day. It's
I think in Western society, we are very used to the idea of things being easy and convenient. And, if you look at the Buddhists, they say life is suffering. But life is not always supposed to be easy. And especially when you're in a relationship, it's the difficulties and verisimilitudes that you go through with your partner that builds. Damn, Skippy, I did. And it builds.
Break out the thesaurus now.
It builds tempered in the fire. And this is being an athlete, right?
Yeah.
You can't look at things as failures. You have to look at them as teachers.
Yeah.
I always talk about as an actor, if every time I didn't get an acting job, I looked at it as a failure, I'd never be able to set foot in another casting director's office again.
Of course.
Well, you probably wouldn't be able to get out of bed.
Yeah. Well,
you'd be, in that kind of place.
NFL stands for not for long.
Yeah.
And,
right.
you don't get a lot of chances in the NFL.
Yeah.
And I played with 3 teams. So,
How many years did you play?
10 years. 10
Wow.
years. I played
That's
in 4
long.
Super Bowls. I won 3 with the Patriots. And, it was a long career coming from nowhere. I was an undrafted rookie free agent, made it with the Green Bay Packers. And that's where I met my lovely wife. And, we moved here in 2000 and stuck around here for 5 years. But, overall, it's just one of those things where you talk about couples and how you get through. And I have many friends who've been divorced, and NFL has a high divorce rate when you retire. And
I was just gonna say that, Joe. We talk about retirement in the book because it can be a point of crisis. Men, we tend to derive a lot of our identity from our jobs. And, suddenly you got this guy who doesn't have his primary, sense of
lifestyle.
Right.
Around the house all the time. And the wife is like, oh, my God, what am I going to do with this guy?
Yes.
And
that was every off season for me. I would come home in the off season, and my wife was like throwing a wrench in the wheel. And she's like, what are you doing? You can't do that. No, I do it this way.
Catch a football.
Yeah. Exactly. So I got a quick question. I know we don't have much time left, but I'm going to get to reading your book. But you have 5 kids, I have 5 kids, and sometimes those decisions on how you reflect on your kids, personally and together. Once again, being on the same page. I'm sure your kids try and work one to another. And, Dad said I can have this. Mom wants me to do this, that stuff like that. So how do you,
unified.
You have to really know your partner and realize and just default to, instead of wanting to be the buddy and the favorite and to be the yes man, you train your kids. Like, we're very big fans of training people how to treat you, and your kids are one of them.
Yes.
And say, hey, I want to do this. You say, let me check with your mom. And she says, let me check with your dad. And that way the kids, you're signaling to the kids that it's not one of you that's in charge. It's both of you that are in charge.
I think also that you have to understand our kids are grown up.
But we went through that.
But another thing is, we taught them critical thinking. We said, look, understand that they're going to scrape their knees, right? And it's okay, but they need to understand that there's consequences for things. And if you, don't want to work hard for an upcoming test, and you decide that you want to do something else, and you get a bad grade, I don't want to hear it. Accept the results, and make it a teachable moment so that they learn. Next
accountability,
right?
Accountable for their actions and stuff like that. And as I grew up and having more and more kids and realizing my youth, you're about the same age as me, you're growing up in a different day and age. And, I sit there and used to realize, we joke around about, we had 4 boys in my family, and, I was the other one that got out after high school, and the other one stayed home, and they all got jobs, city jobs. But growing up, and I remember my mom, if we got in trouble, of course, it was no due process. If you got in trouble, if any teacher or principal, anybody called our house, you're automatically in trouble.
On my head.
Oh, yeah. We got the wooden spoons, and the worst line. I mean, I look at my father. Like, he was a New York City cop, worked nights, and he worked 2 or 3 other jobs just to put food on our table, and then turn around and be like, you just wait until your father gets home. And I'm like, oh, man. I think about that now because, when I come home from work, I don't want to be able to, scream at the kids and deal with the kids. And,
issues,
that's why the first thing was always, the belt came off. But,
but not sure that maybe that was the best parenting for all of us.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't the best, but it worked. Me and my brothers, we're older now. We grew up a good life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the overriding things that you can do for any kid, especially teenagers who are kind of figuring out and struggling with boundaries, is to not be their friend, but to be their confidant.
Yeah.
And have them be able to talk about things with you and not be reactive. Yeah. Where they tell you something like, I saw this kid in school and he was, stealing milk in the lunchroom. Instead of going, what? Why would you do that? You say, wow, why do you think he did that? And have a critical conversation with them so that they feel comfortable telling you things like that. And then say, well, and give them and then parent them in that way. You're not being their friend and, talking to them about things and saying, what do you think would happen if he got caught? And I'm glad that you don't have to.
Very teachable moments, yes.
Absolutely.
Things like that. You can really impact teens really to their core, and especially letting them know that you care about them and that you're interested in what happens to them and that they're your whole life. They don't hear "I love you" enough, and you should tell them every day.
Tell my kids all the time, and my wife would tell you the same thing, that we love them very much. They know that, but sometimes they don't realize that we were that age once.
Yeah.
And
that they
we've
never
been
did.
there.
Right.
We've been there.
Absolutely.
We've done that. And it's a different day and age. I mean, we didn't have cell phones back then. Thank the Lord.
Social
we didn't
media
have,
that
we
they
didn't
have
have
to deal
that back
with.
then.
Right,
But
absolutely.
with social media, I think kids can be on top of their game more because they don't want to be in that limelight. They don't want to be in trouble until sometimes they don't think.
Yeah.
Think before you act. Think before you speak. Think before you text the new one. So it's like, it's one of those things where you got to teach them every day.
It's a different world.
Kids need to learn civility and compassion and a lot of things that seem to be in short supply in our society right now. Mm-hmm. And it starts at home. It starts with how they see us treat other people. Mm-hmm. And, hopefully it trickles down.
Well, listen.
Very true.
It's so true. Wise words, that is for certain. I want everybody to know, again, the name of the book is Way of the Cobra Couples. It's both Michele and Sean who have penned this. Again, I read the book. I enjoyed it thoroughly. And it's a great holiday gift,
home with me.
folks.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the gift.
I'm giving it up now.
Thanks for the gift.
There you go. And some of the others as well. Having the two of you have been a total delight. It was so great to meet you both, and I hope continued success for both of you. And I feel like, Sean, the next book is probably just around the corner, and when it is, be sure that you'll let us know so we can get you.
Maybe you have 5 co-writers next to you next time we talk, right? We'll have the husband, wife, and then the 5 co-writers. We'll do a family book next time, the Cobra Kai family, power families. There we go.
There we go. Exactly. Listen, happy holidays to both of you, and thank you so much for being a part of the show today.
Pleasure. Thank you. Bye-bye.
This is Kerrigan and Company.
New England's brightest holiday tradition returns. A Christmas Carol is celebrating its 35th anniversary at North Shore Music Theater from December 5th through December 22nd only. Tickets at nsmt.org.
Our friends at Sienna Aesthetic Spa in Beverly want to thank their loyal customers with a pre-holiday special. Get 50 units of Botox or any toxin and get 10 units free. And before you get those injections, how about a skin prep with a Hydrofacial Express for $150? That's a $199 value. Oh, and one more thing. The folks at Sienna will add a complimentary dermaplaning treatment to that facial. Get ready for the holidays. Set up your free consultation with the experts at Sienna Aesthetics in Beverly. Go to siennaesthetics.com. This segment of Kerrigan and Company is brought to you by Sienna Aesthetics Medical Spa. Take years off your face with the very latest technologies at Sienna Aesthetics in Beverly. All right, everybody, it's that time of Kerrigan and Company when we wrap things up. Joe Andruzzi, of course, 3-time Super Bowl champion. With me, cancer survivor, one half of a power couple, and now I have learned a Cobra Kai fan.
Yes.
I've learned so much about you today, Joe.
I got to hide in my room. I'll go turn it on and watch, one after another.
Now you're going to have to go and watch for Sean, right?
I should ask Sean what was the upcoming shows. I forgot to ask him to give me a little sneak peek.
I know. We should have asked him.
Let's call him back. Come on, call him back.
They were a great couple, though. A lot of fun. The book is really great, so people should definitely check it out. As we wrap things up, I always like to talk to my co-hosts about something that maybe we didn't get to during the course of the show. And one of the things, and you mentioned it when we were talking to Michele and Sean, but you have 3 brothers, all of them firefighters, and they were all in Manhattan on 9/11.
Yes.
And this is a story that I think a lot of people know about you because it was not that of course, on a Tuesday. It wasn't that Sunday, but it was the following Sunday. And the Jets were playing the Patriots.
Yes.
Playing you. And Bob Kraft invited your dad, who's a retired police officer in New York, and your 3 firefighter brothers to come down on the field and be co-captains,
Yes.
honorary co-captains.
It was hard to put over on them, but, one brother who was one of the first responders there that morning in Tower 1 and was climbing to get his orders. And, fortunately enough, he's still with us and driving us crazy. But, overall, he was in Tower 1 when Tower 2 fell and was running out of Tower 1. He was in the lobby, and I don't remember if you remember the marble walls. They were cracking around him, he told me. And just running out of the building and running from the cloud. And the cloud of smoke, and then once it stopped, they stopped. And what they do? They went right back in. And it's crazy to think about. And even my younger brother, so my oldest brother was called into another firehouse to cover. My youngest brother just broke the academy the Friday before.
My goodness
and
gracious.
He's driving over the Verrazano Bridge into Manhattan and breaking his bunker gear out of plastic. So, that's how fresh he was. It was still in the plastic, and spent the next 10 hours or so searching for my brother and helping others, and found him at night. And somehow years later, we found a picture through something we did. But, I could never fathom what they all went through that day. But, then the day, the rescue, and then the cleanup efforts, all that. I went down there when they canceled the weekend, and I told Coach Belichick that, I'm going to be with family. And he said, yes, definitely, go ahead. Just, keep me in the loop and let me know when you're going to be back and stuff like that. So went down there. My wife stayed home with our 2 young kids at the time. And walking in, and, my brother walking in the house, and he said, that's how close he was. No words. He didn't say anything. That's how close he was. And and gave him a great big hug, and being in the city, going to pick him up, and just the smell and the look of a scene of like a movie theater, or a movie scene, I would say, like the buildings and the smoke, the smell, and the windows blown out, and I can, it's one of those images. I close my eyes, I could still see it, which
Still smell it
if it's if the smell's around, but. You don't want that anymore, and that's have no problem going through TSA extra long. I have no problem, doing certain things because we don't want that to happen again. And unfortunately, it happened here in 2013 in Boston. And my wife and I were on Boylston Street. We have a running program with the foundation, and we had 22 runners that year. And just so happens at that time, we had one of our runners coming through the finish line. My wife and I were at the finish line. And she came through, and next thing you know, we're standing at the finish line again. And, one of the bombs went off. And then come to find out, the second one went off right in front of our watch party at Forum Restaurant.
Right.
So, your heart's in your throat, and you don't know what's going on. We had cancer patients there, and families, and all our friends, and board members, and everybody that within the foundation was there. And, then it didn't really hit me until Mark Wahlberg's movie when they used the live footage from the security tapes.
Right.
And,
and you could see how close you were and what you...
Well, I wasn't in the footage, but friends, family, I mean, they're right there. I'm like, holy cow, like, they're actually right there in this. And, but you take a negative and you make it a positive. And I believe my wife, Jen, and I would say the same thing to many people because that's what we did with my cancer battle. And, it wasn't negative in our life. And 9/11 was a negative in our life. And you just try and make it a positive and help those that need that help. And, for us, the foundation, but knowing that how many things have evolved since 9/11, since Boston bombings, and, people helping others, how many foundations and funds were formed together where they're paying it forward. I mean, one we got really close with was Heather Abbott. She was injured going into the restaurant and lost the bottom of her leg. And, she inspires others now, raising funds and helping kids with amputees. And, come to find out, in my years past with the firemen, they would get together and go to Walter Reed Hospital to go put on a Super Bowl party. So once I retired, once I got back on my feet and were able to join them, I would fly into Baltimore and go with them and go visit all the patients. And it was truly rewarding. It wasn't the cancer side of it, but now we're looking at world stuff.
You bet. You've taken these negative things and you've turned them into positives. And I want to tell you that I am inspired by that, both you and your wife, knowing some of the things that you have gotten through. I'm also understanding very, very, very thoroughly why you feel very blessed as we go toward Thanksgiving, because you've had many opportunities where things maybe wouldn't have gone quite the way you wanted them to. I want to tell you that in light of the fact that you have been so instrumental, certainly in both of those incidents. There's something coming up this coming weekend for our listeners and our viewers who are in the Boston area that I and Kerrigan and Company are so pleased to be a part of. And I think you probably know the Martin Richard Foundation.
Yes, know
and
the
you're
family.
familiar
Yes.
with that family. Martin was the little boy who was standing there in Boylston and lost his life as a result of the bombing. Well, there is a beautiful park over in the Seaport, Martin's Park. And the fourth annual, and this is becoming a big tradition here in Boston, and we're excited about it, but the fourth annual holiday ship lighting at Martin's Park happens on Saturday, this coming Saturday, November the 30th. It's between 4 and 6 p.m., and I am the MC of this big event. Santa's coming on a boat along with the Grinch. There's going to be some other dignitaries there. Now watch it. You just watch it.
The elf, right? The elf.
I am the elf. I'm the helper.
Yes,
I am the helper.
There you go.
We're going to light up that fabulous ship there. There's a great big Christmas tree on the back. It's going to be so much fun. There's going to be cocoa and singing, and it's just a great way to kick off the holiday season.
Great family.
It's a great
smiles
season.
Go a long way.
Yeah, and they're doing all the right things too.
Yes.
You know, and
they took their negative and made it a positive
yes.
also, and living, having his name and his life live on is truly amazing.
It is. So we hope if you're in the area that you can come down and join us. It is the Joe Andruzzi Foundation. Be sure you check it out. And you can find that at joeandruzzifoundation.org. Thank you.
Come join us.
Next time you come, you bring those rings.
I'll bring the rings next time, okay?
Because I was going to wear them during the whole show. And now
shocker. Yeah. Diamonds are a girl's best friend,
you
right?
Bet they are. Absolutely. Great to see you. Happy holidays.
Yes,
thank you very much. All right. And thank
All
you
right.
all for being with us here on Kerrigan and Company. Remember to follow us on social, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody, for listening to Kerrigan and Company. To find out who will keep me company and be my co-host on the next episode, be sure you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, and TikTok. Kerrigan and Company is recorded at the Big Night Studios at the TD Garden in Boston. You can view the podcast on YouTube and listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure you tell a friend. The executive producer of Kerrigan and Company is David Thompson. Our engineer is Peter Hurley, and our social media managers are Grace Kerrigan, Colby Thompson, and Riley Thompson. See you next time.